Hey there, this is Melissa Canazon, and I want to show you today the app that I had made for the IT5303 Java class, my cabinet estimator. A little bit of background information. Me and my husband used to own a cabinet company, and we made high-end cabinetry. And one of the biggest things that our customers always wanted to know was how much is it going to cost? Well, that's not exactly easy to do. So I figured I'd try and make an estimator. Seeing as how there's a lot of detail that goes into trying to figure out the cost of how much cabinets go, I made a very simple program. Um, I at first made it with just using Java, and I did that in the JGrasp. And then after I had finished that one, I figured I might as well go ahead and try and get my feet wet in the GUI. So I did make a GUI, and I made that one in Eclipse with a little bit of help from Scene Builder. So I figured I'd run through them both and show you what I did and how it works. Okay, so the basic command line program that I had made, I I have two different applications here that I used in my project. The first one is the tool, which is the main application that runs, and it actually calls on the methods that are in this program right here. This program lists the variables that I needed to create the calculations. We have everything from how much our labor rate is going to be, how much our material rate is going to be. I even added a function to upcharge the material because if you know anything about business standards, usually when a company buys a product and then sells it to you, they don't sell it at the same price they bought it for. There's usually an upcharge that has to do with shipping and handling. In our case, it has to do with waste. When you're doing woodworking, a lot of wood, either you can underestimate how much wood you're going to need. You can end up getting some bad wood from your supplier that so you need to have a little bit more. There's all sorts of different reasons why you would want to add an upcharge to your material. And then I also have a function here that's going to tell us how much of each size cabinet we're going to do. I didn't try to get very specific on the size of the cabinets. I just went with a small, medium, and large cabinet. Right here, we're going to calculate our labor hours, and the hours are going to be based off the size of the cabinet. Again, right here, here's our labor cost by cabinet size, and then we also have the total costs by cabinet size. And so now we know I import the scanner. This is validating to make sure that our rates are going to start out at a certain point. And then right here we are my methods for setting and getting the labor rate, material rate, and maple rate from the output or from the user in the command line. Here we're doing the upcharge for the material cost. So I actually have the upcharge right here, and we're going to add that in the estimator tool. You'll see that in a little bit. And then here we go with these are the first two that I made to make sure that what I was actually doing up here was actually working right. So here, and it actually turned out to be useful information, so I kept it. And we're calculating the rates for all of the rates combined. So you have a total rate you're going to charge your customer. And then right here where it says rates total, that's actually after the upcharge of the material. So you'll be able to see the price difference between how much your upcharge is going to be versus just your flat out costs. Here we have the input cabinet size and quantity. And then we're going to call from our other tool, and this is going to ask what size cabinet they want. We have 0 to finish if they're finished putting it in. So we enter our while loop, and it's letting you know that as long as we don't have that sentinel value, to just keep on asking what size cabinet do you want, And here is where we are actually taking the amount of what size cabinet they want and calculating the hours by that. And here we have our validation to make sure that they're actually entering a valid size cabinet. And they can only enter 1 through 3 or 0 to end the program. So if they don't enter that, then they're going to get this little message that says invalid. You need to tell me what size cabinet you want to enter, and that ends our loop. Here is our method for calculating the cabinet costs. And then here's our method for displaying those costs. So let's go jump over here to this program and our estimator tool. Here's our main scanner input. We're making sure our rates are set to 0 here. Here our cabinet estimator. We're creating a new estimator, a new cabinet estimator right here. And then we have the entering our labor rate, material rate, and so on and so forth. It'll let you know, it's going to print out our maple rate, our material rate, all of this, and then it'll format it. So let's go ahead and show you what that one looks like real quick. And I have it already pulled up right here. So we'll run it. Please enter your labor rate. Customary labor rate is usually about $65 an hour, so we'll enter that. Now, if you notice, I have a material rate and a maple rate. Just so you know, the material rate, we build all of the insides of our cabinets out of maple. So maple rate is constantly entered. Material rate is to calculate for other charges that are going to be for like the face frames, the actual doors of the cabinets, anything that's going to be exposed. And some people choose to have cherry wood or oak or mahogany or black walnut, and all of those materials cost a lot more than the maple wood. So you can enter that material rate, which that material rate is set just to calculate only the portions of the cabinet that are going to be made out of that material. Then again, if it's made out of maple, you just enter the maple rate twice. So let's just go ahead and say our material rate, maybe they want oak, so we'll do 55 as our unit, and our maple rate we'll say is 35. And here we go. It's going to spit out our summary information right here. It's going to tell us that our labor rate is $65 an hour, material rate $55.35. Yep, that's what we entered. And then our subtotal for all this. And here is our upcharge. It's letting us know that it upcharged the material. And just so you know, the labor rate is not upcharged. It's just the materials that's upcharged. And there's that output. Now, cabinet size. What size cabinet? Let's just say we're going to do the small. We'll do 8 smalls, and then with the medium, we'll do 6 medium, and with the large, we'll do 4 large. And then we're done. So here we go. Here's our summary. And it prints out all this nifty little information for us so you can get a great idea. Total cabinets of 18. And this is one of the niftiest little pieces right here. Labor hours. This is very, very useful information on estimating, giving a time estimate of how long it's going to take to get the cabinet job done, how many man hours you need. Helps you estimate how many employees you're going to need for the job. All sorts of different information. And then we have how much it's going to cost labor-wise for the cabinets, and breakdown by cabinet, which the breakdown by cabinet is very, very useful because you can look at the summary information and be able to tell a customer, well, you could probably get rid of this cabinets, like this portion of cabinets right here. If you got no medium cabinets, then you'll save $5,000. You know, and basically that's this program that I made. Yay, that one was so much fun. Now on to the one that royally kicked my butt, was the GUI. So here we are with the GUI. and I use JavaFX and with Scene Builder. So we have our main application, and our main application basically is going to call our controller application. It's kind of like the other program we're in. We have our FXML, which this is the actual scene. Everything you see in the GUI, all of the lines and buttons and, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, in our controller, this is the actual code for it. And if you look right here, here's our class cabinet controller. It says add fxml with all these variables. Well, all these variables right here are pulling from the GUI right here. It's relating these two files together. So our grid pane and our text fields and our buttons, those all, you will get to see what those are and where the variables lie. This one seems so much more simpler than the other one, but oh my god, it was so difficult to do. So here we go. Here is our button right here. And this is just going to be in the console. It's just kind of test to see if it's working. It would print out like in JGrasp at the bottom. You know, yay, you clicked me. Okay, and here we are. It's going to get the input from the small cabinets, medium cabinets, large cabinets, and then it will store that information and print it out on a nifty little chart. And then we're going to do the same thing with the labor rate, and then all of the other costs, so on and so forth, keeps going down. Doing all the calculations keeps going down. I mean, see, it's just two little itty bitty methods here that are running. And oh, here, this one right here. This is our clear button. That's all it does is clear our program so we can enter the information again. So that seems so much more simpler, right? Well, let's go ahead and run it and see how it turns out. So I got it pulled up right here. We could run it from Eclipse by pressing the play button. It would pull up as well. I just figured I'd show you in the GUI that, hey, look, it does work in the GUI. Or in the jar, I'm sorry. I know what I meant to say. So I'm going to try and do, actually, let me pull that back up. I'm going to make it match this one, just so we can see whether or not the two programs are actually, you know, giving us the same rate. Now, mind you, this one was so much more difficult to do, and I literally got done with it this morning, and I didn't have time to do a lot of formatting to it like I would. And one of the things I didn't get to do was dollar signs, making sure there's 2 zeros at the end instead of a billion. Little things like that you'll notice throughout as it's running. So keep that in mind when you're looking at it and you're like, hey, that looks so weird. So anyways, let's keep going. So our labor rate was 65, our material rate was 55, maple rate was 35. Oh, you can hit tab in here. Now I did not function the enter button to work with the buttons, unfortunately. I wish that were so. So with our cabinets, how many did we do? We did 4 larges. These ones are backwards in the other one. Okay. 4, 6, and 8. That's right. And just so you know, well, I'll show you in a little bit. Then you hit clear and all these will clear. Estimate. Ta-da! And it prints out all of our wonderful information. And I'm not quite sure why now all of a sudden it's giving it to the just dot zero, because before it was doing somewhat like this. Oh, maybe I was using different numbers and these ones just happen to round a lot nicer. That might be what it is. But anyways, if you can see right here, total rate charge, $168.50. That's after all of our material upcharge. And we have right here $168.50. And of course, just the material charge on itself was $63.25. And if you look here, we've got the $24.99. So yay, that turned out right. And then if we look down here, we have let's look at our big number, 13,687.50, 13,687.50. Yay, they match. So as you can see, everything turned out to work out pretty good. If I had time, I would make this so much easier to read and so much nicer and maybe even more user-friendly where the information was a little bit more useful. But as it stands, I mean, hey, I'm impressed with what I did, considering I didn't know that much. Oh, and the clear button. Here, let me show you the clear button. Ta-da! Starts all over again. So anyways, that's my simple cabinet estimator. If you're curious on how much it's going to cost you for a set of cabinets, you know, you can usually look up your going labor rates for cabinet companies in the area. You know, you just Google it. The information's on blogs all over the place. You want to know how much your material and your maple's going to charge or cost, you can just call up your local wood suppliers, and they'll be able to give you certain costs like that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to seeing everybody else's programs. Yay!